Okay, where shall we time travel today? 1987.
It's Evening Rewind, a special time capsule edition of Evening.
And I thought, take my clothes off in front of people.
There are more than 30,000 stories in our archives. Every tape contains a blast from the past.
How dare you!
Get ready for surprises as we discover what's inside.
You go like this if you want a drink.
Let's climb right in to 1987.
Hey, I'm Jim Dever. Welcome to a special edition of King 5 Evening Rewind, taking you all the way back, this time, to 1987. It was a time when Sylvester Stallone was kind of a big deal, and we had no problem putting guys wearing only their underwear on our show.
With such great popularity, it had to happen. There'd be at least one Stallone clone. Packing an industrial-strength bottle opener, this is Arbo. Not out to annihilate an enemy platoon, his mission is to uncap an oversized bottle of brew.
I'm thirsty.
Dan Rowland is Rainier Beer's Arbo. But more importantly, Dan Rowland wants to be the next Sylvester Stallone.
Pump it up, what? Pump it up, who? Pump it up, oh boy, just like that.
I don't classify him as an idol, but I do classify him as somebody that I learned from and gained motivation from, because he got himself where he is, and that tells me that if one man can do it, if I have enough, that maybe I can do it too.
Striving toward the Stallone trademark, Dan's building up those biceps, triceps, and gluteus maximus to Rambo-esque proportions.
What were we thinking?
Basically, I'm on a ladder and I'm trying to reach the top, which being a national celebrity. And anything it takes to get there, I will try.
Dan means it when he says he'll do anything to get exposure. And exposure is the key word here.
No, seriously, what were we thinking?
His first job in front of an audience was as a male stripper.
And I thought, take my clothes off in front of people.
Obviously, no shortcomings in the modesty department, but Dan got exposure on a national level. And just as Sylvester panned Rocky, casting himself in the lead role, so has Dan written a script he hopes will land him in the movies.
Can you take your positions, please?
Dan's got his goals set, and he's scripted the perfect scenario.
The best thing that can happen is to go through with the movie that I wrote, to take it all the way to being the celebrity that lives in Hollywood type status. Stallone is going to get old and gray, like everybody else, and I would love to be, you know, he's 10 or 11 years older than me. I would love to be the young Stallone.
Yo, yo, yo!
Heaven knows he's got the eyes, pecs, and tush of Stallone, but the question is, if he ever gets a movie role, will he have the appeal of Stallone? Audiences like you will make that decision.
Yo! This is not part 3!
Well, sadly, Dan never replaced Sylvester Stallone, but he continues to be very ambitious. He actually owns a Harley-Davidson dealership in North Carolina. He produced a whole reality show about it called Boss of Hogs.
Yeah, I've been kind of labeled as a dreamer or big ideas guy. I'm so far outside the box, I can't even find myself sometimes.
Dan, if you're watching, I would like to formally apologize for 1987 evening, making you do so much of that story in your underwear. It happens to me sometimes, too. Also in 1987, a new technology. It'll blow your mind. It's something called voicemail.
What's your number?
Bye-bye.
I don't know. Can I ever call you?
Take that message for you.
Goodbye.
Remember the good old days when all you had to do was pick up the phone and dial? The hold button was the most complex thing on it. Well, things have changed.
Hey, Karen, how do you transfer a call?
Oh, you just, you depress the receiver button. You know, the receiver buttons, there's the two of them at the top, and you get this noise, kind of a wee-doo, wee-doo.
Okay, got it.
Is it ringing? I mean, did it work?
Well, as if transferring a call isn't difficult enough, you can now pick, park, camp on, add on, and do all kinds of crazy things with your phone to get your message somewhere. And now there are some new systems about to debut.
Kathy Fleming works for AT&T Network Systems. Soon you'll be able to send your computer messages at the same time you're talking with your business associate. 2 transactions at the same time. Other futuristic features include message retrieval. Your receptionist need never scribble another illegible message to you. It'll be in your phone waiting. And there'll be some new surprises for you at home. So says Pacific Northwest Bell's Nancy Bernstrom.
You program your telephone so that it'll wake you up at 7 in the morning or call you at a particular time, and a recording will tell you, don't forget you have to call your mother to set up dinner by this time.
And you won't have to rely on the phone company any longer to trace a phone call. You'll be able to do it yourself.
Hello?
How dare you? Why do you call me?
Also, companies will be able to call you with their tailor-made, pre-recorded pitches.
Hello? How would you like to earn $1 million in just 3 days? There's no catch. Just enroll in our special.
They'll be able to screen their telephone calls, so if there's someone who's been harassing them or someone they don't want to take a call from someone, they can key in that telephone number and it will block calls from that telephone number.
For example, when the ex-wife is looking for her alimony check.
We're sorry, the person to whom you are calling has declined to receive any calls from your number at this time. We're sorry, the person
Just some examples of what may lie ahead for you and your phone. A few new ways to reach out and touch someone.
We're sorry.
I love the acting in that piece, and those extras are what we used to call the King 5 players. That's editor Blake Hurley trying to figure out how to transfer a phone call, and producer Terry Murphy going after her fictional ex-husband for alimony. In the late 80s, beauty pageants were still called that, by the way, and we were way into them.
Miss Texas is Miss USA.
Host Brian Tracy's 1987 story about the Kings of Texas pageant queens, Richard Guy and Rex Holt, a.k.a. Guy Rex, was full of glittery gowns and big hair, bold eyeliner, and some questionable word choices.
When we work with a girl, we don't need a crown to be a winner. We try to create this girl to be a winner in life.
Guy Rex spends months molding their women. They find the ideal makeup. They put them through numerous photo sessions so that they can act perfectly in front of the camera, and they even drill them on exactly what to say in interviews. These women are a Guy Rex creation.
I think every girl, no matter what state she's from or what country, needs preparation. Because there's no such thing as luck. I think people that give their girl only a month, 30 days, 60 days without preparing her, I think that's sad.
One of the girls that didn't have the Guy Rex advantage was our own Miss Washington.
Richard Guy and Rex Holt have moved on to the big beauty pageant in the sky. And we've all moved on from calling grown women girls, I hope.
Later in the show, before Oprah, there was Donahue. Meet the 1980s king of daytime TV. And up next, a youthful John Keister is a fountain of knowledge and some very strong opinions.
Welcome back to our special edition of Evening Rewind, coming to you from the top secret location where more than 30,000 evening stories are archived. We found a tape from 1987 with Almost Live's John Keister giving us a tour of some local landmarks. See if you can tell which ones are still around.
Water. Now, it surrounds us in Seattle. It's important to us. We want to luxuriate in it, show it off. We like to display water, which is sort of our civic symbol of pride, in our fountains, like this one down here at the Waterfront Park. This is your basic tourist fountain and tourist water. It's tourist water, but uptown, the water's a lot different.
Okay, that was the waterfront fountain. It accidentally fell into the bay in 2020 when they were demolishing the dock. Oops.
It's more structured up here for the business set. You see, it's like a giant fish ladder of success, climbing the rungs in a corporation. The waterfall shows the power of business, corporate power. This is corporate water. And so is this. We use waterfalls in this city to celebrate the spirit of the entrepreneur. This one was built in honor of the people of UPS, not the college, the parcel service. It was founded right here, and that's why we have this waterfall. Then this fountain represents the smooth lines of gentrification down here in Pioneer Square. When I look at it, I can almost feel the prime office and expensive retail space that is being carved out of all these brick buildings down here. Very architectural water.
All right, they must have listened to John because that fountain is no longer.
And this is a new age drinking fountain. Normally it's a fountain, then you're supposed to go like this if you want to drink. Well, in these days, I'm sorry, I'm not drinking that without rubber gloves, okay? I'm sorry, but that's just the way I feel. And this is where that drinking water comes from. This is the water department, and they have their own fountain. I like this one. It's bold, it's good looking, and they've spared no expense, which, you know, they might as well not because it's, you know, it's free for them. And speaking of pipes that need fixing, what about our truly historic fountains, like this one? This is Chief Seattle, the spiritual father of our city. And how do we honor him? With a regurgitating bear. This is a fountain. Now, come on. And here's the chief again with his own fountain, right? And look, this is it. Just this dribble right here. You know, isn't this sad in a town with so many great fountains? I think so. And the answer is that we've got to know our fountains, love our fountains, and turn this one up. I mean, you know, just a little bit. You know, don't you think?
That Chief Seattle fountain in Pioneer Square did not get turned up. It got turned off. In the late 80s, wheelchair racing was becoming a really big new sport, and a Seattle man is a major reason why.
On a cool, wet New England day, 65 of the world's top wheelchair racers gathered for the 91st running of the Boston Marathon. In the front of the pack, Northwest native Jim Martinson, a winner here in 1981, and a world record holder of the wheelchair 10K.
I've prepared extremely hard for this. I got a great shot at people across here that are #1 in the world, so I got a chance to go for a victory. I'm ready.
Jim got off to a good start. But a second Boston Marathon victory would elude Jim on this day.
I came back strong and finished second, so I felt pretty good about that.
Comebacks are nothing new to Jim Martinson, who co-founded this sport in the mid-70s, overcoming adversity and breaking down barriers along the way.
Okay, I lost my legs in 1968 in Vietnam, and that was due to a landmine. Well, the way I responded to the accident was I was really bitter. I went through a lot of, you know, why should that happen to me? And yet on one side I was thankful that I was still alive. After that experience, I started going back to college, and then I got involved with a youth minister, as a youth minister in a church. And the young people of that church I was working in challenged me to start doing road races.
From that challenge, Jim started pushing his way to the top. He plunged into training and racing. His dedication and tenacity convinced runners to open their races to wheelchair athletes. Along the way, Jim established himself as one of the world's premier wheelchair racers. He pushed to victories and set records in races around the country. These days, Jim mixes racing with business. He owns Magic in Motion, a company that builds lightweight wheelchairs for racing, basketball, tennis, and everyday use. The chairs are used by most of the top competitors in the country.
Looking good, you guys, looking good.
He hopes that by his example, he can inspire others with disabilities to reach for the top.
I'm able to see people with physical disabilities get back in the mainstream of life. They feel physically better. When you feel physically better, you feel emotionally, spiritually, and mentally better, and all of that comes together.
No matter where he goes, you know Jim Martinson will always be a winner.
I take my legs back in a minute, but it's been good to be able to do what I've done.
Jim continues to be an advocate for athletes with disabilities. In fact, he's considered the father of adaptive skiing. He was inducted into the U.S. Ski and Snowboard Hall of Fame in 2015. And in 2023, this Vietnam vet raised the 12th man flag for the Seahawks during their salute to service.
Coming up, Oprah who? 1987's King of Daytime TV sizes up the competition.
Welcome back to Evening Rewind, all the way back to 1987, a time when a genteel, white-haired man was the king of daytime talk, and he was also very confident that an upstart newcomer by the name of Oprah could not snatch his crown.
Phil Donahue, the man dubbed the king of daytime talk, is having his crown threatened. Relative newcomer Oprah Winfrey has come in and taken the Donahue style and format and is beating him in the ratings at what appears to be his own game.
You're not going to believe this, but somebody told me that you made love to your husband on the Capitol steps.
I think I told you that, didn't I?
Is it true?
Yes.
The guest is Rita Jenrette. The topic, Washington scandals as seen by former congressmen's wives. It's typical Donahue, and it's what brings him more than 11 million viewers a day. For 1 week, Phil has gone on another of his road trips. This one's in Seattle, and in this line you can see just how well Donahue's cultivated his following.
Oh, I don't know, he's just got something, it's just, I watch him every single day.
I figure it's a once-in-a-lifetime thing. We'll never get to see Donahue again.
Sexy, and he's intelligent, and he's...
Once inside, you aren't sure if these fans are primping for Phil or the scanning cameras. On another day, it's not the guests nor even Phil himself that steals the show. It's the demure-looking audience member.
Okay, the best soundbite you will hear in this entire show is coming up in 3, 2, 1.
I think there's a problem in the politicians' bedrooms, really. I think if a woman is a queen in the kitchen, a lady in the front room, and a prostitute in bed, she's not going to lose her man.
Will you all please take out your hymnals and turn to page...
And I also do pop off on my program. I have more elbow room than the anchor people. I can say what I think, and I'm often booed by my own audience. I can pop off more than Ted Koppel can.
But these days, Phil has Oprah breathing down his neck.
Does that ever worry you at all? No, what it does is energizes us, makes us more ambitious, which is, after all, what competition is supposed to do.
What's ironic is that Phil has more viewers than he's ever had, but Oprah has even more. His plan of attack: do the same topics he's always done in the same way, and see if she's got staying power.
We are convinced that we have the best talk show on the air.
Donahue plans to continue his talk into the 90s, and he plans to do it with more sex, scandal, and human emotion. It's worked for 20 years, and it should work for a few more.
In about 10 minutes, we're going to be live, and you better get in this. I'm counting on you. We're looking for a good time.
Phil Donahue won 8 Emmys and a Presidential Medal of Freedom. He passed away in 2024.
Up next, some things never get old. Nature puts on a spectacular show in Grays Harbor.
Welcome back to Evening Rewind. We're taking you all the way back to 1987 in this episode, and a natural phenomenon in Grays Harbor County caught the attention of reporter Enrique Cerna.
Each spring, up to 500,000 shorebirds gather at Grays Harbor's Bowerman Basin, a 500-acre wetland just west of Hoquiam, Washington. It's the largest gathering of shorebirds anywhere in North America, south of Alaska. They call Janet Anthony the Belle of Bowerman Basin. She's known as a tireless advocate for the protection of this area from development. A few years ago, Janet organized the Friends of Bowerman Basin, a group that wants this wetland declared a national wildlife refuge. For Janet, it should always be strictly for the birds.
I feel it's an extremely special place. When I watch the shorebirds doing their thing out here, I feel privileged to be able to be an observer and watch this. This is a really awesome spectacle. A natural ballet on the wing. Maybe it's not the shorebirds, maybe it's just the wind rustling through the reeds. And I'm reminded as to why I'm doing this. I feel that it's not just a me thing, it's for many, and I like that idea.
Well, Bowerman Basin did become a national wildlife refuge, preserved for the many, just like Janet hoped it would be. Well, thanks for joining us for this edition of Evening Rewind from here, deep in the evening archives. Who knows what year we'll take you to next? Thanks for watching.